March 1922 at Pulau Kadi, Pekan Pahang, Tun Abdul Razak started his journey in education from Malay College Kuala Kangsar MCKG. Then he further to Raffles College in Singapore, while he one of the 50 Malay students that had been selected. Tun Abdul Razak education was interrupted when the Japanese forces landed in Malaya. After the Second World War, Tun Razak received a scholarship to complete his law studies in London. Tun Razak joined the Malay Union of Great Britain, and through the association, he received a degree in law in the United Kingdom and engaged in politics. And after returning back home, he was selected as Army Deputy President in 1951. And he also took part in negotiations for independence from the British. As a father of development, he was highlighted by vital advancement in variety of fields, including education, agriculture, and industrialization. Several technologies and improvements were introduced during his time as a ruler, which aided Malaysia's wealth. As a proof, Tun Abdul Razak served as Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Education post-independence in 1957. Looking through his political career, Tun Razak's leadership was built on Malay political supremacy, and he attempted to connect Malay identity to national identity. Tun Razak joined UMNO in 1949. He quickly advanced through the party ranks and became a well-known figure in Malaysian politics. He also was the Minister of Rural Development and Local Government from 1957 until 1967. And Abdul Razak also established the new economic policy which aimed to eradicate poverty and reorganize Malaysian society to address economic imbalance. Also introduced the Green Book and the Red Book, which are used to plan and monitor rural development and agriculture. He also managed the expansions of country education and healthcare infrastructure. After all his services and contribution to rural development and the national level, he ended his life in 1976 due to health problem known as leukemia. The legacy continues to shape Malaysian politics and society today, which make him one of the most influential leaders in Malaysia history.
The new economic policy was introduced in the year of 1971 under the Second Malaysia Plan. This policy also launched after the incident of 13 May 1969. What happened in the 13 May 1969? It was an incident that have threatened the harmony of races in Malaysia. Not only that, every policies that have been created in Malaysia has its own objectives or goals. The objectives of new economic policy are to reduce the poverty regardless of the races and to restructure the society. The government also has set the goal, which is to decrease the rate of poverty from 49.3% households to 16.7% households in order to fulfill the first objective of new economic policy.
Besides that, under this policy, the position of Malay in economic sector was developed through the specific institutions such as Bank Bumiputra Malaysia Berhad and Perbadanan Nasional. For example, the government has introduced Bumiputra Investment Foundation in the year of 1978 with the aim to make Bumiputra involved with the business activities. Furthermore, the tariffs and subsidies has been proposed by the government to protect the life of rice farmers. There are also other institutions that help Malay, especially in rural areas, such as Federal Land Development Authority, as well as Rural Industry and Smallholder Development Authority.
Tun Abdul Razak has marked a significant history of Malaysian education when he established the Dewan Latihan Rida, which was founded in 1956 under the Rural and Industrial Development Authority (RIDA). The attention to uplifting the socio-economic status of the Bumiputra community, especially in rural areas. It provides the vocational training and education to Bumiputra youth. Dewan Latihan Rida played pivotal roles in producing skilled graduates who went on to make significant contributions to Malaysia's economy and society. Day by day, Dewan Latihan Rida has expanded and evolved until in 1999 it becomes UITM, one of the largest Malaysia public universities. FELDA, or Federal Land Development Authority, is a Malaysian government agency established in 1956 with the prime goal of alleviating rural poverty and developing new agricultural land. Felda relocates rural families to newly developed areas by providing them with land for cultivation. The settlers are trained in modern agricultural techniques and provided with financial assistance to cultivate crops. Felda also assists the settlers in marketing and selling their agricultural produce. Besides, Felda has contributed significantly to Malaysia's economic growth by generating export revenue from agricultural commodities. Felda also has created numerous jobs, both directly in agricultural and indirectly in related industries such as transportation, processing, and manufacturing. Felda has improved the living standards of the settlers through the access to education, healthcare, and infrastructure.
The implementation of a new economic policy led by Tun Abdul Razak has contributed many benefits regardless in terms of politics, economy, and social. The new economic policy lessens the economic gaps that exist between non-Bumiputra, particularly between Chinese and Malay. There is huge disparities between Bumiputra and non-Bumiputra, which is not just in terms of the economic disparities between them, but at that time non-Bumiputra are more dominant towards the ownership of money, involvement in business, and many more. Under the new economic policy, in order to lessen the economic gaps, the government has introduced the systems for the creation of Malay shareholders, which is Industrial Coordination Act (ICA) in 1975. This system functions in order to control Chinese and foreign capital. This has shown by implementation of new economic policy can make that all the Bumiputra not to be left behind, and the economy among all the Bumiputra can be given a balance between other non-Bumiputra. The benefits towards the society, which is reducing income inequality. The income inequality became growth, which is in about a year from 1957 until 1970 are becoming poorer, while the privileged are becoming richer. Non-Bumiputra and Bumiputra can experience a balanced income among them. When there is income equality among them, it can result in improved educational achievements, particularly for kids from low-income families. The children can get a proper education as the children from high-income families. Bumiputra and non-Bumiputra can live comfortably, which is in terms of the health measures, which when there is balanced income at all levels, it will enhance their health optimally as they can spend on medicine, food, healthcare, and many more. The new economic policy is enhancing the quality of life of the farmers in the agricultural sector. This initiative has given many distributions of opportunity to rural society. They have the opportunity to get a job in the agricultural sector and also get the opportunity to participate in economic activities such as farmers, robbers, and many more, and through that they can generate their income, and also Bumiputra have the opportunity to acquire ownership in various economic sectors. During the implementation of the new economic policy, the government at that time was implemented the several agricultural projects, which is drainage and irrigation projects for both single and double cropping of paddy. From this implementation, there is demand for about 2/3 of rice domestically in 1985. It has a positive effect on the farmers, which is when there is much demand for rice, they will gain more income, and from that it will decrease their financial burden and lead in enhancing their quality of life.
From the contribution of new economic policy, it can be said that new economic policy has succeeded in achieving its objective, where it has contributed to education and economic development of the country. However, there are some criticisms that arise against the new economic policy. Even though new economic policy's objective was to eradicate poverty and restructure society of various ethnic groups, critics argue that it has shown favoritisms towards Bumiputras. In education system, we can see that new economic policy has made the decision to make Bahasa Malaysia as the official language in the English medium schools. This has left many non-Malay students feeling excluded. which has resulted in a significant number of Chinese and Indian students have opted for vernacular schools, which has further deepened racial divides. And to address this issue, it is important to revise the educational policies by implementing a bilingual education programs which could provide a more balanced approach by allowing instruction in both Bahasa Malaysia and English. By adopting this reform, we can work towards creating an inclusive education system that genuinely fosters unity among all of Malaysia's ethnic groups. Inequality between races, where only Bumiputra experience income growth rate. This situation arises because the new academic policy has primarily facilitated wealth accumulation for Bumiputras, often at the expense of non-Bumiputra groups, which has resulted in a decrease in their wealth and opportunities. To address this concern, it is important to implement a reform that promotes a more inclusive academic environment, and one recommendation is to shift towards needs-based affirmative action rather than race-based policies. This approach would focus on assisting individuals based on their socio-economic status rather than their ethnicity, ensuring that all communities can benefit from academic growth.